Team, welcome to another episode of Ask Top, sponsored by MentorMilitary.com. I'm your host, Command Sergeant Major Retired Mark Garrett, and today we're going to discuss the new DA Form 4856 that was released in March of 2023. Before we get started, I'd appreciate if you'd hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and stay up to date on everything that we're putting out on the channel. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the Army has replaced the old 4856 with. Okay, so there are some things I really like about it. You've got the drop-down pay grades that you can insert. You can put in the dates that you want to counsel. You have your type of counseling, the approach, and then you have 4 different methodologies in which you can use the form. So let's start with the general form. The general form looks exactly like our previous counseling form, so you can use it just the same as it's always been used. Now, the cool part is all of the boxes will expand. So you can use this, you don't need a continuation of counseling anymore, so that's pretty cool. Now we have professional growth, and they've laid out a format for this. My only concern is, what if I want to add something that's not in the categories of the formats they've provided? But you know, it's something that I'll dive into deeper as we start putting together specific samples. Performance, I like this. You know, it's your ACFT score, the date you took it, what you made, the date you took your weapons, what you qualified as, your score, your distance learning course status. So it's got some good information there. But again, it kind of puts me into a box with specifically how they want the counsel. I don't see anything that opens it up to let me add something that is not within these key 8 points. Then we have event oriented, which is a little unusual. It gives me 8 different options to conduct a counseling. A superior performance, okay, just enter your key points of discussion, your plan of action, your leader responsibilities. So a lot like the general form, but gives you key or specific events you want to focus on. Substandard performance, same thing. What if I have a 4th point I want to talk about? Now, we have reception integration counseling. Again, they put it, I feel like they're putting me in a box, but as I go through this and look at it, it may be that this is, you know, a really good flow tool that helps me think through the counseling. Then we have promotions, crisis. Again, you know, they give a little bit of a format. Referral, transition, and transition looks a lot like the standard form. And then we get into adverse action, and adverse action appears to look like the generic form. Let's see, substandard performance, did I cover that one? There's 3 key points there. So, you know, I guess my question is, with the previous form, you could write it any way you wanted to write it, but now they've given you a format to help you develop a counseling. I guess that's a good thing. But you can always, if you need to, use the general form, which, like I said, is pretty much the previous form. If you use the event-oriented form and the substandard form, you know, that looks like you can modify and make it pretty specific. Adverse action tends to follow the same plan as the old format. So, you know, hats off to them for putting something together that will make us think and encourage us to think through a counseling situation by answering questions, thinking about the format. And it's important that we take some time to think through counseling. You know, I guess What I don't necessarily like about the new form is getting leaders to properly counsel soldiers has always been a challenge. My concern now is that we've provided 4 different formats and an event-oriented counseling that has 8 different counseling formats. Are people really going to take the time to dig into it to understand how to properly use those forms? The old form was great because it was generic to do all the things. The new form, like I said, tries to provide a set structure for all of these counselings. So the question becomes, did the Army make the counseling process easier or more complex and less likely to be used? Perhaps the biggest disappointment for me with the release of the new form was they didn't provide any examples or explanations. I get it. They want you to be a critical thinker. They want you to think outside the box. They want you to follow their format and be your own person. But in releasing it without instructional information, that may have hampered leaders in some way. But that's not a big deal because what we're going to do is we're going to be releasing sample examples, if you will, trying to use their format. And hopefully that will help people. All in all, I do believe it is an improvement and it will assist in developing leaders and soldiers. So as I said, we'll be putting together some examples for you over the next couple of months. But in the meantime, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and let us know what you'd like us to cover. But until next time, stay safe and stay healthy.